Welcome back and thank you for staying with us on Daybreak. And now we're going to take a look at the front pages of the national dailies as usual. We'll start with the Daily Trust newspaper here. The major story here says 2 years after 100 new air traffic controllers redundant, the NCADS lacks capacity to train us. Aviation College silent. That's according to this research. It takes time to train cadets. That's according to NAMA. You find this on page 4. Below the headlines there we have Abbas to Ganduje raise committees to reconcile the aggrieved APC members. There seems to be a lot going on within the APC. More pressure on Naira ahead of possible interest rate hike. I mean, that's scary and sad to the ears of every Nigerian. Kano mocks arson renders 100 orphans and 13 widows. A really sad situation that happened in the Kano mocks. Below the major story there, we see the Iran president minister on board of the crashed helicopter, 12 killed in Taraba Imo auto crashes. And Man City win historic 4th straight Premier League title. I wished Arsenal would have won, but anyways. And we have Army rescues 386 from Sambisa forest 10 years after abduction. Gunmen kill 2 soldiers in Abia. A custom officer's wife, 4 family members abducted in Abuja. A really sad situation there. Restrictions on Nigerians and other African countries imports affecting businesses. That's according to the IMF. Now, these are the stories that you would find on the Daily Trust newspaper. Now, let's move on and take a look at this day newspaper this morning. The major story on this day newspaper is saying that legal framework will persist. I beg your pardon on that one. All right, legal framework will prevent governors from abusing state police, says Senate leader. Insists it's best for effective security, functional economy. Nigeria has police citizen ratio of 1 person, that's 1 police officer to 650 people, which is not possible. Far cry from United Nations minimum ratio of 1 person to 460. At this point, I think we should stop comparing ourselves to the United States or nation. All right. Below the headlines there, we have DRC Army says it stopped attempted coup involving U.S. citizens. Iranian president, foreign minister, others missing after helicopters had landed in mountainous terrain. State media says site located, silent on state of leader and others. At the top there, it says Mele Carrier blames oil output decline on underinvestment, theft, pipeline constraint. Says NNPC rolling out rig share program set to drill 53 additional wells. And Komola Fair with growing investment in renewables, EVs, Nigeria must aggressively exploit its fossil fuels. Now, these are the stories that you would find on this day newspaper. All right, let's move on to this Nigeria. The major story is saying LG, that's the local government autonomy activist lawyers, seeks reduction in governors' powers. How import restrictions hamper business in Nigeria and other African countries, that's according to IMF. Soludo sacks 21 local government transition committees chairman and their tenures expired, says the governor. Criticism continued to trail Uzodinma's appointment of sole admins for the local government. Now, this is all on the major story, the local government autonomy. You find out on page 2. Army falls attempted coup in DR Congo, flush out insurgents. The FCT police restore order at Banex, interrogate suspected traders involved in fighting with the army. Now, these are the stories you find on this Nigeria. Now, let's head on, of course, to dissect all of these stories with our reviewer for today, Suleiman Ubagaya, the CEO, Sky Limit Media Group, and former Deputy President, Nigerian Guild of Editors. Good morning. It's good to have you, sir.
Thank you.
As usual.
Good morning.
Yes. All right. So there seem to be a lot of stories happening. So let's talk about this insecurity situation. Saying army rescues 386 from Sambisa forest in 10 years after. That's the ones that spent about 10 years after abduction. How would you rate the army? I mean, it seems today we've been rating the performance of, every person that is being given responsibility. So how would you at least rate this particular measure that it got, the achievement?
Even though we are in a job that involves being critical of public institutions, I want to readily and happily congratulate the Nigerian Armed Forces, headed of course by the Chief of Defense Staff and the Army Chief of Army Staff particularly, for this very massive, unprecedented achievement. What it means is that they are up and doing, and they are achieving the mandate set by them by the Constitution, and they are, in fact, meeting the expectations of Nigerians. To be able to rescue this huge number in, people that have been held captive for over 10 years, over a decade, is no mean achievement. And I want to congratulate them. I want to encourage them to do more, to achieve more for Nigeria, to make Nigeria a safer place for us, for all of us.
Indeed. All right, still speaking on insecurity, I mean, the custom officer's wife and 4 family members abducted in Abuja. Abuja used to be the safest place. Yes. What is your take on this particular situation?
You see, there is a huge gap occasioned by lack of adequate manpower in the police force. The police force presently has personnel at numbering around 300, 400,000. But most of them, unfortunately, are engaged in guard duty. This is the role of the police, not the army. And they should be blamed for what has happened. I mean, how do you allow criminals to infiltrate the nation's capital? How do you expect foreigners to look at Nigeria? I mean, talking about foreign direct investment. Who will invest in Nigeria with this kind of situation? People coming into Abuja. And we're abducting custom officers. The Nigerian Customs Service is no longer the Nigerian Customs Service of yesteryears, when the impression was that all custom officers are corrupt and that they are filthily rich. That is no longer the case under the current leadership. That is a custom institution that has raised 1.3 trillion naira for Nigeria in the first quarter, just 3 months, and is set to surpass its target for this year. It has continued to deepen civil custom relations, and I wonder why the custom officer's wife and the family should be targeted. It should be discouraged, and Nigerian police honestly need to do more to protect everyone, including themselves, including members of other security institutions. It is so disheartening, honestly.
It is. But then there was a ratio of, the United Nations saying at least there should be, that is at least 1 policeman to 460. But currently in Nigeria, it's 1 policeman to 600. And do you think that, with the lack of numbers, the human resource has been one of the major concerns? Even the police have called for it. Citizens, Nigerians, experts of securities have called for more human resource, but there seems to be a delay. Do you think that could, be the cause for this escalating insecurity, especially in the northern, in the middle parts of, or should I say, the capital of Nigeria?
Certainly. Issue of manpower is fundamental if you really want to have maximum security for any society or a nation like ours. When you have only 1 policeman manning 600, or 600,000, as it's reported by some institutions, what it means is that it's like we are just joking. You understand? There is no way that number can give adequate cover, to the populace.
Yeah.
So really, government needs to do more. The Nigerian police as an institution needs to do more in terms of, especially Nigerian Police Service Commission, headed by my very good friend and elder brother Arasi, Solomon Arasi, the former IGP. He is a very positive-minded person, and I believe he should do more in terms of hastening to recruit more policemen and make sure less number of them are involved in guard duty. Because even as we speak, if most of the policemen are disengaged from guard duty, we will have better security in the
numbers.
country. And that is why you have the military coming into the coming into the cities,
doing their job that is not just speaking on military. I mean, there seemed to be a massive killing and attack on military officers. One of the annoying one that happened was the one in Banex, even though there was no killing, but then for citizens, civilians to attack a military officer in uniform. And right now, there's another story of gunmen killed 2 soldiers in Abia. There seemed to be a delay, even though we know the military has to do its proper investigation on what happened in Okwama in Delta State. And then it seemed to be replicated. These are the people that we keep saying we need more of them to protect us, but then there's incessant attack on them. How can we curb this situation?
Honestly speaking, the military as an institution, or the Nigerian government, let's talk about the Nigerian government, the Tinubu administration, it must do more to protect our soldiers, because they are the last layer of defense. Once they are attacked, it means me and you and I can easily be overrun. And really, what happened in Banex is heartbreaking, is so terrible, and I believe the military should do more in terms, as quickly as possible. I'm happy that the Nigerian military is partnering with the Nigerian police force to arrest the perpetrators of that evil. They should be arrested and severely dealt with by the law, honestly speaking. Let that never repeat itself.
Of course.
Because if we keep attacking our personnel that are in uniform, they are the people protecting us. It means there will be a breakdown of law and order. It means people like us can easily be attacked and killed for no reason. So government should take this matter seriously. I happened to be driving around that Banex area yesterday around 8 p.m. and I saw that security has seriously been upscaled around the area. I hope it continues, but the biggest thing is that the perpetrators of that evil must be arrested and they must be dealt with in a way that is open, so that people that are evil-minded would be discouraged from doing the same. I
agree with that. I mean, in the USA, a teenager was arrested for flipping the middle finger at a police officer.
Exactly.
Not to talk more of, hitting that person. So
and these are countries that talk about, that pride themselves in human rights, and democracy. So if in the US such a thing can happen, then there is no reason we shall allow it. It's only in countries like Nigeria where a civilian for no reason will kill a uniformed person and go scot-free. That must never be allowed to continue to happen. The government must find a way to stop it.
We hope the government gets to do something. Perpetrators should be brought to book in order to curtail this menace. All right, let's talk about another issue that has been echoed, the local government autonomy. I mean, there seem to be activists and lawyers seeking reduction in governor's power because of the local government autonomy. And Soludo sacks about 21 local government transition committee, and also there is some criticism of Uzodima's appointment. So there seems to be a lot of how a governor can walk through the local governments when always there's a complaint that the local government are not really functioning. What do you think about the situation?
You see, the unfortunate thing is that all the governors in Nigeria have sworn to an oath of office and oath of allegiance that is constitutionally enshrined, in which they swore, if you are a Christian, with the Holy Bible, if you are a Muslim, with the Holy Quran, to protect and defend the Constitution. And part of this defense of the Constitution includes allowing the local government system to thrive. No governor has the power to do what the governors in Nigeria are doing, killing the third tier of government. And to be very frank with you, it is part of the reasons why there has been, firstly, a massive influx from rural urban migration. Most people living in the rural areas coming to the urban areas to gain jobs because there is no future in the local government areas in our hinterlands.
They're not represented.
And when they come to the cities, they realize they have little or nothing to do. So some of them easily take into crime. So this thing, most of the crime rate that continues to spike in Nigeria has its roots in what is happening in local government areas. I mean, local government, our local governments. So really government the Tinubu administration. I keep talking about the Tinubu administration because he is the president, and we are running a federal system in which the presidency has a lot of power. So it's not just about. I agree with the publication that by this Nigeria that. I agree with them that really the powers of the governors should be reduced.
Yeah.
They are wielding too much power presently, and it should be reduced. Do you know the legislators at the national level should come up with a legislation that will make it impossible for our governors to continue to tamper with the third tier of government, because in many states the third tier, the local governments, hardly do not even exist.
I mean, the typical example of what you discussed, what you made mention of, the fact that because there's absence of at least representative connectivity between the people in the rural area to the government, it's something that has led to people coming into cities, and you find them under the bridges and all of that. And this has caused a lot of insecurities because of the shanties. Well, based on that, we'll just have to wait and see if that would work. But a lot of people have been calling for at least local government autonomy. Let's talk on politics quickly. What is happening in the APC between between Ganduje, but right now Abbas at the House of Representatives, he's saying that they should Ganduje should raise committees to reconcile the aggrieved APC members. Do you think with the push of wanting his resignation and wanting his head, do you think that could work if he should, be at the forefront of seeking for reconciliation?
You see, it is said that when you come to equity, you should do so with clean hands. Unfortunately for APC, it doesn't come with clean hands. By mere appointing Ganduje as APC national chairman, I'm not accusing him of anything because no court has yet, convicted him of any crime. But in saner societies, when you are accused left, right, and center, the way Ganduje is being accused of all sorts of plundering in Kano, billions of naira or even trillions, and landed properties. The way he messed up Kano. I'm from Kano, and I know that really Ganduje definitely messed up Kano State. And for that kind of person to be appointed the national chairman of the ruling party, it tells a bad story about us as a nation. And honestly speaking, it's one of the issues I have with this administration. Most likely the president has encouraged the appointment of Ganduje because he really worked for his emergence as president. But if you want to pay back someone who has too much skeletons, or allegedly too much skeletons in his cupboard, there are ways you can do it. Do
you think the president was just giving him a second chance at least to, Well,
maybe that is why. But then you don't expect such a person, even if for the issues being raised about Kano, Judicial Commission of Inquiry and other issues. So how do you expect him to concentrate in reconciliation and governing the party?
All right.
It should be.
At the end of the day, we'll just have to wait and see how the APC will resolve their own internal crisis. Thank you so much, Suleiman Obagaya, for joining us. CEO Sky Limits Media Group and former Deputy President of the Nigerian Guild of Editors.
It's
Appreciate your time as usual. And with that, of course, we have come to the end of Daybreak this Monday morning on Trust Television. Please do stick around at the top of the hour. Fashemi Emmanuel would bring you 360 Sport. I am Sumaya Abubakar. Do have a lovely day.